Good afternoon, this is Donnie Fuchs of the Stop Yovel blog. Today's audio post is entitled, Who Let Them In? Benjamin Netanyahu's recent hiring of YouTube missionary Hanani Naftali is an absolute outrage, because it shows how far the supposed leadership in Israel has fallen. Now, the messianics and the missionaries today are out there celebrating, because they know that the spiritual crusade is being normalized by the Israeli government, by Dati Lumi religious Jews, at least many of them. They see that not only is Naftali no longer viewed as toxic in today's society, but they see that he could be viewed as a friend and an advocate, and as a result could be hired in the position he was, of a media personality for Netanyahu. The outrage is understandable. Absolutely, this is a terrible thing. People should write, blog, scream. But when did people wake up? And have they really? And in this case, I'm really speaking about the online activist kind of Anglo mentality, because they often purport to be advocates for Israel from a strength position of coming as American Olim. But in this case, they certainly show that they don't understand missionaries or evangelicals. Even though most of the aid comes from American evangelicals, these Americans clearly show that they're either naive, evil, completely clueless, or pathological. The Likud has been in bed with missionaries for years. The very, very worst of them, because they throw money at Israel, and once Israel matured as a country and had the kinds of emissaries that had the English and cultural understanding that they could make these connections with these American evangelicals, they could then dip from the waters, which they have, the free waters of easy evangelical cash, because they're eager to give for their own reasons. So Naftali is not viewed as toxic because he defends Israel on YouTube. Now, what's peculiar and grotesque is that some of the so-called voices of outrage, and I believe a lot of it is feigned, is coming from those religious personalities on the scene today who collaborate and collide with evangelicals in outrageous fashion. People like a Rivka Adler-Lambert, who writes, a book, 10 Nations, and she has chapters written by some of the worst personalities. And in future audio posts on this issue, I'll get into the specifics, by missionaries. The Tanakh session in the Knesset, where you had religious Jews sitting with Christian evangelicals. So this woman, Lambert, the other day had a post. She's got the chutzpah to open her mouth when she's involved in this kind of stuff. The way people like Gidon Ariel of Root Source is involved, and so many others whose names we have mentioned in the past, we will continue to mention, but I'm laying down the foundation. We're going to get to all these people. The hasbara blog Israeli Cool, they celebrated Hanani Naftali a few years back till they could not. And more recently, when the evidence was so overwhelming that he was a missionary, they gave him a slap on the wrist. They attacked me for calling out their soft-handed approach. There were a lot of, we hate to attack hasbara personalities, but blah, blah, blah. But they never mentioned that the Israel Project still uses him, nor did they ever give it to groups like Stand With Us, who merely scrubbed him from their system. Elder of Zion had him listed, I think, as of 2017 for their Hasbi Awards, their Hasbara Awards. And then, of course, can Israeli Cool really go after Naftali, but ignore their own contributor, Kay Wilson's documented messianic past, which he has never admitted, and which Jews eat you alive if you bring it up? And despite so-called expert Penina Taylor's vetting of Kay Wilson, she clearly, this is Ms. Taylor, ignored the facts and the evidence that have been put forth by us and others, and so including Jewish Israel, which clearly showed that Kay Wilson was definitely a missionary, has never admitted her past. I have no patience for such disingenuous behavior. This is for all those people, some of them who were in the past fighting missionaries and who were beaten by the enemy. And in this case, I mean the enemy's friends, the Jewish religious friends, who ruined these people's reputations and slandered and slurred them and made them shut up and go away. There's some of them now are trying to take this more soft approach so they can be respectable. If you have no guts to fight this anymore, shut your mouths and go away. As far as the hasbara blogs, shut your mouths and go away, or continue to blog about celebrities. Lord Day's not coming, and Natalie Portman is a jerk, and SodaStream. But don't lecture the few who are consistent and unafraid on this issue to demand equal accountability from everyone. I want to reiterate that Hananiah's hiring is an outrage, and the kind of thing that should destroy a coalition. We're the principled religious Jews in this fight. This is the kind of pressure we could put on, including decent traditional Jews and Jews who are bothered by this. The Chil Hashem grows stronger every day. And because Bibi can do what he wants. Now, a simple goal is to demand Naftali's firing, but Bibi doesn't have that kind of pressure on him. But the only voices in truth that can argue any of these positions vis-a-vis the evangelical missionaries, the danger, being against interfaith dialogue both hashkafically and halachically, are those whose can only come from those whose conscience is clear, not those who pine for Hasbara awards. This has been Donnie Fuchs. Have a wonderful day.